All right, we are privileged to have with us this morning here in the studio Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill running together on the Democratic ticket for governor and lieutenant governor. And, of course, Nick Christensen right over there taking your phone calls. And, first of all, welcome, gentlemen. Good to have you back.
Hey, Peter, it's great to be here. We always have a good time here in the studio with you. It's good to see Missoula getting cleaned up. I was down here just after the storm, and, man, it was a bit of a mess. I see we're still picking up branches today, but it's good to see the good folks in Missoula getting all cleaned up.
You bet. I think the way it was handled was amazing. Our Parks and Recreation Department, the Fire Department, all of the emergency services, Northwestern Energy, Missoula Electric Co-op, the cooperation statewide rushing to Missoula was outstanding.
Yeah, I tell you, I followed it pretty closely. I called your mayor right after it happened, and man, it was a horrible storm, obviously, but so many of the best things about Montana were on display just after that. Neighbors out helping folks with chainsaws and everybody pitching in together. That's the Montana that we all love right there.
You bet. So Raph, welcome. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. How you been?
All right. Tell us now, for those who haven't had a chance to visit with you yet, tell us about Raph Graybill.
Well, I'm from Great Falls originally, and grew up there. Family's been there for a long time. I've known Ryan for about 10 years, bumping in similar circles. And, it was last fall that I was going to one of Ryan's first events, and I said, this guy's really onto something here. This property tax increase that Gianforte's overseen, all these attacks on people's personal rights and privacy. People are ready for something new, and it turns out that's not just something I felt. A lot of people felt that too. So what I've been doing in my professional life is mostly being a lawyer, representing different kinds of Montanans, teachers, nurses, firefighters, who are challenging some of the crazy stuff our legislature's done. I concluded that's really important work, but you know what? They keep doing it over and over and over again, and what we really need is a veto pen back and someone like Ryan Busse to hold it.
All right, so we already have folks waiting to talk with you on the phone, so let's jump right in and get to it and say good morning to Buck. Buck, good morning. You're on with Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill. Go ahead.
Well, good morning. Thanks for, making yourselves available to us. I don't know, this is particularly political, but some of your first ads on TV, you said you sold 3 million guns. I'm just curious, what was your position, what was the company, and what were the brand of guns, if we're not familiar with them? What type of guns did you manufacture?
Hey, Buck, I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, I'm a gun guy. I grew up on a farm and ranch, hunting and fishing with my dad, my grandfather, my brother. Those were some of the best times in my life, and so after I got out of college, I thought, man, I want to do something in and around the things I really love. And so I was lucky enough to get into the firearms industry. And we started a little sales and marketing office in Kalispell for a company called Kimber when it was a fledgling small little gun company. And we built that into one of the largest gun companies in the United States. I ran a worldwide sales team. I'm very proud. We sold about 3 million guns while I was there, and I feel like we built and sold and marketed, developed some of the finest firearms in the United States, and I'm very proud of that history.
Probably mostly handguns initially?
Hunting rifles and handguns. Yeah, we sold a lot of handguns, a lot of 1911 style handguns, 45s, 9mm, yep.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Buck, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. And then Nancy's up next. Nancy, good morning. You're on with Ryan and Raph. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning, and I have a fast comment and a question for both of you. Okay, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they are running on a Democratic ticket. Neither one is a Democrat. We know that they are progressives who swing to the left. I would like to know what your definition of a Jacksonian Democrat versus a progressive, what is the difference between the two parties? And I would like to know, in all honesty, which one are you? Are you a Jacksonian Democrat, or do you represent the progressive left in your thoughts and agenda? And thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy. All right.
Hey, Nancy, sounds like maybe you're not in the same state I am. Raph and I are Montana Democrats. I'm not even really sure what all those other definitions you are that you're asking for there. We're running on really basic stuff. Our mantra is get your Montana back, and we really believe in that. Look, we have a governor who has raised property taxes on everybody. We have a governor who is trying to sit in the doctor's office with everybody. I don't know what all those things you're asking me about are, but I can tell you that Montanans they're not down with any of that stuff, and so we're really proud to be Montanans first. And we'll be proud Montana Democrats, but we'll be proud Montanans before anything.
Raph, did you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I think that's right. And one of the things that drew me to Ryan's campaign that I've always loved about Montana is we in this state are Montanans first, and we really don't like labels. Our framers of the U.S. Constitution warned us against this, factions, right? That was in the Federalist Papers. Factions are bad for democracy. And what are political parties? They're factions. Ryan and I are running on issues, I think, that matter to folks regardless of your political party. You can be a Democrat, Republican, I don't care. You don't want this governor jacking up your taxes. You can be a Democrat, Independent, Republican. You care about your local public school and what it means for your community. You care about respecting people's privacy and fundamental rights. All those things are on the line. I don't think those are inherently partisan issues, and that's exactly how we're running this race.
Okay, with that, we're up against our first break. It's 721-1290 is our number. Our phone lines are open. These gentlemen are here to answer your questions. So what's on your mind? These for governor and lieutenant governor, they want to be in the State House helping to craft what's going on in Montana for years to come. So and that involves you. So give us a call, 721-1290 or 1-800-568-5309. We're going to come right back after this timeout. We are back on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. And before we get to, we have Harry and Catherine both waiting. Ryan, you would like to respond to one of our comments.
So Nancy asked, what party we're from, what we're doing, what we're all about. I just want to tell you, this campaign is one of the most hopeful things I've ever done or been a part of. It's really thrilling for us. We did event number 129 last night, and at that event too, we had Republicans there who come up to us and they say things like, I've never voted for a Democrat, but I'm voting for you guys. I can't take Greg Gianforte anymore. And I'm telling you, running as the sort of pragmatic, moderates champions for this state that we are, it's really, really hopeful to see people kind of toss aside their national politics and join up for the state they love. And if you want to experience hope in politics again, if you're tired of being angry at your neighbors or your family, you show up to one of our rallies, one of our events. It's one of the most fun things you can do in politics. It's a hopeful thing.
All right, let's get right back to the phone and say good morning to Harry. Harry, good morning. You're on with Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill. Go ahead. I'll push the button here. He's on one.
Yep.
Hey, sorry about that, Harry. We had a little bit of malfunction.
No
go ahead, sir. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. Couple questions and a comment. Questions. I've seen these ads. So, are you going to take away the guns? First of all, and also the second question is, you talk about property tax. Could you go into more detail about what you will do for the property taxes? And the suggestion is, I know negative people don't like them, but they seem to work. So I want to see Greg Gianforte's mugshot and saying, is this the man you want as governor?
All right.
Harry, you got lots of stuff in there, man. So
thanks for the call, Harry.
You talk about taking guns. Harry, do you have any good guns? I like good guns. If you got some, you want to get rid of them, I'll probably take them. Look, I'm a gun guy, right? I own lots of guns. I hunt and shoot with my boys. I do that every chance I get. I'm a proud Second Amendment guy. I'm a proud believer in our right to defend ourselves. And these folks running negative ads on me, it's because they don't have anything positive to say about their own record, and that's Greg Gianforte. This guy raised property taxes a record amount on Montanans, average of 21% across the state. Some folks have been taxed out of their home. And the way this worked is the budget committee came to him and said, hey, Greg, if you don't do what the previous four governors have done, and remember, that's Martz, that's Roscoe, 2 Republicans. That's Bullock, that's Schweitzer, 2 Democrats. Folks who looked at this same sort of problem that Gianforte had, and they said, wow, we can't do this, or homeowners are going to get slammed with taxes. Greg Gianforte looks at it and he says, oh no, we're going to slam these people with taxes. And as far as fixing it, I'll let Rafe answer that. He's got a simple answer on this. It's an easy way to fix it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, Harry. And one of the interesting things, I'm going to be roundabout in this, you probably got a letter in the mail from Gianforte recently. That letter was full of, I hate to be another politician, full of lies. Gianforte says, it was the counties, it was local governments, that's why your taxes going up. No. The state of Montana, starting with the governor and his executive budget, set the tax rate for residential properties in Montana. And what Ryan is talking about here is when home values go up and you would pay more in taxes as a result. The last 4 governors said, wait, let's stop. Let's lower the tax rate. The government doesn't need any more of our money. The needs haven't gone up, so we lower the rate. And the state government does that, starting with the leadership of the governor. This governor is the exception. He said, you know what? Forget what those 2 Republicans did, 2 Democrats did. I want to take this increase in money, and I'm going to make that the centerpiece of my budget. I'm going to use it to balance the budget. So this guy chose to keep that residential property tax rate high, You paid more in taxes. The way you fix that is relatively simple. For as complicated as property taxes are, you just change this one number. It's in Title 15 of the Montana Code. His own staff gave him a memo saying right now it's 1.35%. They said, hey, man, move it to 0.94%. No one gets a tax increase. That's all you got to do. Change one number in the tax code. He not only failed to do it, he said, let's take that extra money and use it to balance the budget. Didn't need it. And by the way, just for context, we had a $2.5 billion surplus. That's your money, my money. I never said keep the change. That's what they're doing. They're raising the taxes and keeping the change.
And if you doubt the veracity of this, just today or yesterday, a very powerful letter op-ed was written by a Democratic county commissioner from Missoula and a very conservative Republican county commissioner, Mike McGinley from Beaverhead County, Dillon. These guys have come together, and there are multiple times in this op-ed where they say the governor is lying to you. So this idea that this happened and it's the county's fault or the school's fault, no. The governor and his budget committee and his supermajority decided to do this, and they put this tax increase on everyone.
All right, let's. Does that help you? Okay, Catherine's up next. Catherine, good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I wanted to kind of change the subject a little and ask you about what you know about this. Over 100 million acres of producing farmland across the United States is slated for eminent domain to build corridors across the U.S. for solar and wind power. And this will result in massive electromagnetic fields and reducing the amount of food that is going to be produced. I was wondering what you think of that, if that is something you support or take issue with.
Hey, Catherine, this is Rafe. I am not familiar with the details of that. It sounds bad to me. I think we should produce American-made food in America for Americans, and Montana is, proudly has some of the best beef, best wheat, best alfalfa barley in the country. So I think a plan to use government power to eliminate agricultural land is something that we would oppose.
Yeah, we're not really up on the details of it. I will echo Rafe. I grew up on a farm and ranch. Spent most of my youth driving around in a John Deere tractor on the back of a horse, and so I echo what he says. All right, 72112. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Catherine, please.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I did send you, Peter, the YouTube about that.
I saw that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
And by the way, it is, if you look at that, it's truly frightening because so much of that area is viable farmland, and they're going to have to. They literally want to go in and take it, as the government can do for certain things, to put in these corridors for solar and wind energy, and depriving us of the farmland that we need, a good portion of it that helps to feed Americans. So there are two forces here. One is energy independence. One is food independence, and they're both crashing. We're going to take a break. Andy is waiting to visit with us. We're coming right back. 721-1290. Stay with us. 721-1290 is our number. I'm Peter Christian. Nick Christensen over there taking your phone calls. Here in the studio, we have Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill. And I just had a chance to show you the map that Catherine was talking about. Does that ring any bells? You had mentioned eminent domain when it comes to Montana. Powerful laws here.
Yeah, and this is Raph. Montana has this great 1972 Constitution, and the whole inside of the Constitution is we need to protect people from the government, from government overreach and power. And we have one of the strongest protections against eminent domain in the country. We have one of the things our state does is says not only does the government have to pay you if they take your land outright or take your property outright, but if they damage it as well. A lot of states don't have that. So in other states, the government can do all kinds of stuff, and they can go to court and say, well, we didn't quite destroy everything on your property.
That wasn't our intent.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah. And in Montana, that's not an excuse. We've got pretty pro-rights constitution that protects property owners.
Cool. All right, let's get right back to the phones. Andy has been waiting. Andy, good morning. You're on with our guests. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. So Greg Gianforte is a creationist, meaning that he believes the Earth is only 5,000 years old. I've never heard him say that. When I've asked him about it, when he's been on this show, he just says he doesn't want to talk about his religion, but he does support a museum, a creationist museum. So first question is, what do you guys think about a governor of a state of Montana that doesn't believe in science? the creationist idea flies in the face of every branch of science. So I have a follow-up question after that.
Okay, go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, I tell you, first off, I want to say we should never be castigating people's religious views and their deeply held religious values. Rafe and I, we joke. We both, you can't see us here, but we both have beards. We call ourselves the bearded Lutherans, right? We're two Lutheran kids who grew up in Lutheran churches, and so we're careful about what we how we say and judge things about people's religion. But when it comes to policy, I think that we should have a governor who believes in science. We should have a governor who believes in best practices. We should have a governor, for instance, right now, one of the most egregious, I think, anti-science things that he's doing is he's driving the very best scientists and biologists out of fish, wildlife, and parks because he believes he wants to commercialize our elk and our deer and our rivers. He's the only governor in the history of all governors, all states, all years in this country to sue to block a public river access. And we're standing here in Missoula between the Clark Fork and the Bitterroot where, where river access is a pretty sacred thing. And when biologists like Eileen Rice, one of the best fisheries biologists this state's ever seen, is forced out just like she was last week, that's because this governor doesn't believe in science and he doesn't believe in the people's right to benefit from science and wildlife biology. Rafe and I do.
I agree. Good for you. Thank you. I'm hoping you win this election. When Governor Gianforte won the election, I believe that the way he clinched the deal was by punching a reporter. And I'm wondering if you're going to go to those extremes to win this election.
No, we can step over that low bar here. Rafe and I today pledge that we will not body slam any reporters. We
even though they're big enough to do that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. We would.
Right, well,
I tell you that
we
really want to debate this guy. I think there's lots of you bring up things that are important, right? About the style with which we govern and the decency with which Montana is governed. Rafe and I believe in responsibility and decency and moderation, and I think he owes it to the Montana citizens to debate. And so far he has dodged. There was supposed to be a debate here in Missoula this week. He refused to debate. I assume he doesn't want to be questioned by me about some of these policies and tax hikes. There's supposed to be a debate in October, which so far he has refused to accept. And I stand here ready and willing to debate Governor Greg Gianforte on any of these topics.
Okay. Let's get Emmett on the line next. Emmett, good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Well, I do appreciate what you're saying about property taxes very much. I'm very concerned that Greg Gianforte doesn't want to debate you. But I'm what you would call, I guess, a conservative independent. And I don't know. I am a member, or I've been a member of the NRA. And I know a lot of these campaign ads are terrible. There have been a lot of lies and everything. But you have been F-rated by the NRA, or at least that's one campaign ad I saw on TV said. Is this true? Because I do believe in the right to self-defense. Guns are not just for hunting and fishing, but they are to defend ourselves against an out-of-control federal government and for self-defense. You yourself is in the gun industry. If you could answer that. Also, I'm kind of confused about, I believe that you should be able to make your own health care decisions, but I'm very pro-life. As a Roman Catholic Christian, I believe in God. I'm very pro-life. I'm against Constitutional Issue 128. So, as a person of faith, how can you square your faith against these very liberal issues like pro-abortion, this kind of thing? If you could answer that, I'd be very happy.
Okay, tell you what, Emmett, there's quite a few things there, so we're going to take our commercial break just 30 seconds early, and Ryan and Rafe will address those issues. When we come back from the breaks, we also have Skip waiting on the line and several phone lines open for Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill. They're both here in the studio to answer your questions. They're going to be on their way to Bozeman for a freedom rally here pretty quick. So stay with us. We'll be back with more right after this. Okay, we're back on Talkback. We had to take our break, unfortunately, because some of the things that Emmett said require a little bit more time than we had at that moment. So please go ahead and address his issues.
Hey, I really appreciate Emmett calling in. I hope you're still listening. I'll hit both of your questions. As far as your NRA question and my stance on guns, look, there's an ad. We have an ad out there where I'm shooting a rifle at a range, and I want you to know I believe in guns and gun ownership enough that I helped design that rifle. I don't think there are many gubernatorial candidates who can say, hey, I'm shooting this gun that I helped design. I'm pretty proud of that. As far as the NRA giving me an F rating, well, these are the sort of made-up lies that a desperate governor will sink to to try to divert you away from, your property taxes being jacked up. And yes, the NRA, apparently they're running that. Apparently they say that, but they didn't even give me a chance to. They didn't even give me a chance to apply. I didn't take any test. I didn't do any of those things. I sold my guns. I sold my 3 million guns. I worked for a firearms company. I'm proud of that. I stand on those principles. And if the Republican Party or Greg Gianforte wants to make up lies about me, I guess they're going to do that. But they are indeed lies. As far as your question about health care, abortion, and freedom in this state, I will say that I think there's a big divergence of opinion and acceptance on abortion and whether you want to be for it or against it. And I respect all of those positions. But I think we can all agree as Montanans that the governor, should not be making those sort of personal decisions for you. So, Emmett, I completely appreciate where you are, and I hope the people listening can appreciate that everybody should be able to make your own decisions, just like Emmett has his opinions, and the women across the state deserve to make their own decisions and have the government and the governor stay out of their doctor's office. That's what freedom is all about.
How about the legislature?
Especially the legislature.
Okay.
The legislature should not be in the doctor's office with the women of this state telling them what they can and can't do. So again, whether you're for or against, whether you're a proponent or an opponent, okay, that's what Montana is all about. You can have those opinions, but we can all agree that we shouldn't have a governor and a political apparatus telling you what you can and can't do with your body. That's wrong.
Okay, let's move on. Get another call in. This is Skip. Skip, good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Thank you, Peter. And Ryan, Rafe, my mind is so boggled. I've been listening to the answers you have for some of these questions, and it raises more questions in my mind. So when it comes to the tax situation, just could you give us a couple of specifics of things that you would use as tools to fix it, rather than just find things wrong with it? A couple of things that you would introduce? And then I had a couple of specific questions. First, about our Montana State Constitution, which I think Rafe is a kind of a guru of, at least the way that he sees it. I do believe that Article 2 is pretty well done. I'd like to see, especially Article 2, Section 3, just stay the way it is. And then I wanted to know, what do you think about? How about we just have another constitutional convention and straighten out the whole thing, just like in 1972 your grandfather did, Ray? But what I want to know is, where do you stand, especially Ryan Busse, where do you stand on what do we do with the wilderness study areas that are now under federal control? Do you think the state of Montana can do a better job than they do with those? And then, most importantly, what are we going to do about the people that want to steal the prairie and make a buffalo, a whole buffalo unit out of it? It's called the Prairie Reserve. They're even interrupting how much agricultural land we're going to have in production when they start buying everything up and stopping the farming and making it into a prairie.
Okay.
I'd like to know what you think of
all right.
things.
A lot of stuff there, but thanks for the call, Skip. Go ahead.
Hey, Skip. Sorry, we don't have 2 hours, so I don't know if I can get to all of that. But let me start with some important stuff. And I appreciate your questions, and I appreciate direct questions, and I hope we'll give you direct answers. As far as, let me give you a really simple one-line answer on the property tax thing, what we will do. We will lower the tax rate, okay? Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and tell you how common sense that is. The last 4 governors have done this when presented with this same problem. 2 Republican governors, Judy Martz, Mark Roscoe. 2 Democratic governors, Brian Schweitzer, Steve Bullock. They were presented with the same sort of issues that we were just presented with in this state, and they said, hey, we're going to stand up for Montana homeowners, and we're going to lower the tax rate so that they don't get walloped with this tax increase. This governor refused to do it. We will work with the legislature to make that happen, period. Now, as far as the Montana constitutional questions, you'd called into the radio today on the very best day because we got the preeminent constitutional attorney in the state standing here to answer your question. I'm going to toss it to Rafe.
Hey, so this is Rafe, as advertised. So you mentioned Article 2, Section 3, and for those who are not following along with us as super con law nerds, that's the Montana Constitution, the Declaration of Fundamental Rights, and the section's called Inalienable Rights. And your question was, shouldn't we leave this alone? And I totally agree. Your Constitution says this. How cool is this? All persons are born free and have certain inalienable rights. They include the right to a clean and healthful environment, the right of pursuing life's basic necessities, enjoying and defending their lives and liberties, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and seeking their health, safety, and happiness in all lawful ways. In enjoying these rights, all persons recognize corresponding responsibilities. The reason I don't think we need another constitutional convention is I think that's pretty darn good. I think that's pretty spot on.
Hey, Skip, you know what I say to that? Amen. Like that if that isn't beautiful, and if that doesn't enumerate the sort of beautiful respect of freedom that we have in this state, I don't know what does. So I'm right with Rafe on that.
Okay, let's get another caller in. This is Charlie. Charlie, good morning. You're on with Ryan Busse and Raph Graybill. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys. One of the first things that Gianforte did when he got into office was signed an executive order for our right to open carry and concealed carry. And I know the naysayers say that people were going to be, piled up like cordwood because it was just going to be a slaughter. And that hasn't come to fruition. But I was wondering about what you guys feel about that. Because I personally like the idea that I can put a little .380 in my pocket and, head on out the door and feel protected, anyway, from anything that might come. But if you'd...
Okay. You bet. So,
thanks, Charlie.
I sold lots and lots and lots of concealed carry pistols. I own a few myself, and I think responsible citizens doing responsible things, we ought to be in support of that. So, and Rafe and I are both shooters. We both own guns. We believe in these things. So, the answer is yes on concealed carry. I think we have to be careful with open carry. Open carry and intimidation is something that can be disruptive to our society and can be dangerous. This idea that we as gun owners should support people carrying loaded ARs up and down the street to scare kids. No, I don't think that's right. I'm not talking about massive legislation. What I'm talking about is that gun owners should stand up and say, hey, we as responsible gun owners want to be and do responsible things. So I don't think we should be frightening or intimidating people, but I certainly believe in your right to defend yourself.
And one thing I want to add on that, because you got my lawyer gears turning. The premise of your question is kind of interesting, and we should think about that. How can the governor, through executive fiat, expand your constitutional rights? Right, the right to bear arms for including self-defense in Montana, is a fundamental constitutional right, also in Article 2 that we were just talking about.
It's already there.
The idea that the governor can tinker with your rights is against everything our Constitution stands for. We have strict accountability for elected officials, and whether it's here gun rights or privacy rights, right to make medical decisions, whatever it may be, this governor believes that he is essentially the king and can alter and modify your rights. That, or he's not serious about this stuff. And that's just not the way Ryan and I will be in that office.
I just want to let you know I own a little .380 concealed carry pistol too, so I'm right there with you.
We're going to come right back. We have a break coming up. We have Elena, Mr. Wingnut, and Jeff all waiting to visit with you when we come back right after this. We are back. This is Talk Back, and we're having a great discussion here. Our guests in the studio are Ryan Busse, Raph Graybill, both running for governor and lieutenant governor on the Democratic ticket against Greg Gianforte. So let's get Elena on the line next. She's been waiting the longest. Elena, go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you. I have to admit that so far I kind of like what you guys are talking about and what you're saying. By the way, I'm a libertarian, so... I have two questions.
It's good to have you aboard, Lena.
Thank you. I have two questions. First of all, and this one should be short answer. As an elected official, what is your main duty, obligation? And then I'll give you my second question.
Uphold and defend the Constitution.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. I think you're the first ones that ever said that.
It's in the oath. Giving us a softball here.
I thought that was going to be hard.
No, well, for some people it is. Oh, I'm going to make sure you get jobs. I'm going to make sure this happens. They never give you, that's your main obligation, your oath of office, and that's what you're supposed to do. The second one, I don't understand. Give me your real reason for running as a Democrat.
Well, we believe, we are running as Democrats, and we believe in a strong, vibrant public education system. We believe that in the egalitarian principles of wildlife management for all, that the way, wildlife held in the public trust and that we should all have opportunities. We believe in the egalitarian system we have in this state of this beautiful stream access law. And Rafe and I are proud of our beliefs. We're proud of the stances we take. This is not a partisan thing for us. These are stances that we take, and we believe that the core principles of the party that we're running from most closely align with what we believe. But these are not sort of far left or far right, sort of partisan things. These are centrist things that we believe all Montanans should believe in. And then, lastly, I'll say that we believe in freedom. We believe in the healthcare freedoms of women and of all people in this state. The Montana Constitution that we've referenced here several times has a very clear right to privacy in it, and that right to privacy should cover every single citizen of the state. And within that right to privacy is the right to bodily autonomy, or the right over your own body. And I don't know what could be more central to the freedom of any individual anywhere than the right over the body that you occupy, your own body. And Rafe and I are very clear and proud about that, and we'll fight for it.
Okay, that's interesting. I agree with you on everything you're saying, as I said, but it has to originate from here, the state, not from the federal government, not from the feds. That's what I don't like, that most of the stuff that comes in are from these regulatory agencies, and then the state adapts them. And I think Montana is sovereign, and I'll stick to that. And if we make the rules and laws, it's because this is what the people here in this state want. And it shouldn't be anything to do with any other state or the federal government, for sure. So good luck,
Elena,
guys.
this is Rafe, and
thanks, Elena.
I just want to say I appreciate your comment. I want to add, too, I mean, you've heard us talk a lot this morning about the Montana Constitution, not once about the giant federal regulatory edifice. And that's on purpose, because we are running to be governor and lieutenant governor of this state. We're running because we love this state and the values in our Constitution, the values of our people, this state. Being Montana Democrats is kind of a lifelong lesson in being contrarians, because we're Montana Democrats. And you're probably going to see ads about us on TV where they're going to try to use Photoshop to put our faces next to all these national Democratic figures. But remember our conversation today. We are running because we love this state, we love the people of this state, and we are proud Montana Democrats. That's who we are.
How many quote-unquote national Democrats that run an ad with a guy holding a rifle, me, that he helped design? Come on, we are Montanans first.
All right, let's get Mr. Wingnut on the line. Mr. Nutt, go ahead. You're on with Ryan and Rafe. Go ahead, please.
Well, good morning. I'm looking at a site called Montana Newsroom, and it clearly says that Ryan Busse's NRA rating is an F. So that's one statement. But then I had a couple questions. You are in the same party as John Tester, is that correct?
I believe he is a Democrat, yes, sir.
So he has characterized non-native Montanans as cattle lice. And I was wondering if you folks are of the same sentiment. And secondly, and somewhat kind of on a humorous tone, I was curious, you're both gun folks, and is it hunting and fishing, or is it hunting and fishing?
Is it creek or crick, hunting and fishing? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, thanks for the call, Mr. Nutt.
I have to tell you, that might be the most difficult political question we get, and I'm going to dodge it because I'm not sure.
I'm okay to drop the G.
Okay. Rafe's going with hunting.
But there can be selective dropping of the G.
That's true.
Depending
very
upon
context dependent.
Hey, I to the larger question though about who we are and what we're running for. I believe this is a state that changes people for the better. I believe that this state has made me a better person. The last numbers that I saw, somewhere in the realm of 44, 45, 46% of the people who live in this state were not born in this state. And we're not about castigating people. This is a campaign that's bringing people together because of this place that we love. And I often comment, and I'm sure many of the listeners have felt this, when you walk into a bar in this place, in this state, it's such a refreshing thing because we don't pull rank on each other. I often say you walk in and you don't know if the person you're talking to is a cowboy, a hippie, a school teacher, or a cowboy hippie school teacher, right? Could be all three of them. We're equal in this place. We don't pull rank. We don't try to be superior. We don't say that the rich and wealthy can only have the path of success and riches and river access and access to our fish, wildlife, and parks. Like, we don't say that here. Rafe and I, when we say get our Montana back, we're trying to get the Montana back where we help each other instead of hate each other, and we just don't play the hateful games. It's just not in our vernacular.
All right, thanks for the call. I'll tell you what, we're up against our last break, and we still have Jeff, Ed, Catherine, and an app question before we come back. 721-1290. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Listen to this. Oh, we are back on Talkback. Let's jump right back in here. Get another call in. This is Jeff. Jeff, good morning, sir. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning, gents. 2 quick points. First of all, you said you believe in the science, and that scares me because science is not dogma. Science is opinions formed based on some data. And folks can look at the same data and come to different opinions. So when someone says they believe in the science, that scares me. I don't believe in science. I don't even necessarily follow the science. I look at what science gives me in the way of opinions, and then I form my own decisions. So to say that is, I think, a little bit frightening for me. And second of all, when you talk about property taxes, you guys are only talking about one half of the issue. Let me give you an example. I'm a guy working for a company, and I make $30 an hour. That's roughly $60,000 a year. And I need $60,000 a year to support my family. So now the company says, well, we have to cut the pay rate, which equates to tax rate, which is what the legislature would do. And now I can only afford to pay you $25 an hour. Well, my family still needs that extra money. So even though you've cut my pay rate, I need to go out and find a way to work extra hours to earn that extra $10,000 that my family needs. And that's exactly what the counties do. Yes, the tax rate can be cut, but what's going to happen is the mill levy is going to go up because the county still wants that amount of money. And that's what every year the county goes out and says, what do we need to set the mill levy rate at in order to get the money we need? And that equates to the number of hours worked. So you're only talking about half the process there. And to blame the governor for not cutting the tax rate, well, okay, he didn't. But that meant that all that meant is the county had to charge fewer mills, but it's still the same amount. So you're making a big to-do about nothing. The same amount would still come out of a person's taxes.
Appreciate you calling.
Thanks for the call.
I'm going to take the first part, and I'm going to toss the mill rate question to Rafe. But I want you to know that we're going to govern this state when we win this. We're going to believe in the good folks who work for state government. We're going to believe in expertise. We're going to believe in our fish, wildlife, and parks biologists. We're going to believe in good folks that we hire to run DPHHS. Sure, we ask questions. Sure, good, intelligent folks should ask questions. But we should hire good, competent people who believe, yes, in the science and the study and the expertise behind the ways in which we manage our state. I think it's very important that we do that. And that's just not something we're going to back off of. We're proud of that. And I'll toss the mill rate question to Rafe. We talk about this a lot.
Yeah, hey, and I appreciate your analogy to getting paid and your work situation. I think the key difference with what happened with the government here is the counties didn't ask for more money and the state didn't need more money, right? So the difference here is if you don't lower the tax rate, all this extra money comes in that nobody needed, nobody asked for, and that's why the state had this $2.5 billion surplus of our money. No one ever said keep the change. So what happened here, and there's also laws that limit the amount by which counties can increase their mills. They got to go talk to the voters. They got to get approval. They can't increase their budget above a certain percent every year. And in fact, one of the things that happened this year that I think is really telling is a lot of counties, I think it was like 46 of the 56, actually tried to collect fewer mills, and it was Governor Gianforte that sued them saying, you must collect the increase in taxes. So I think it's a real clear choice here. You got a governor that said, let's raise everybody's taxes. I know exactly what that means. It means more burden on homeowners. And you've got two candidates here saying we will lower that top tax rate. The laws that limit how much counties can grow and local governments can grow, those are going to stay the same. We're the only candidates here saying let's lower the tax rate. And in fact, I just saw on the news today the governor's whole sort of, Potemkin Village task force on property tax relief came out with their plan, and their plan was to raise property taxes, for God's sakes. It's like a 15-page proposal. The bottom line is they want to keep jacking up your taxes. We will lower them. One number, change it, make it lower.
And for those of you who didn't hear what Rafe just said, yes, the governor sued the counties to raise your taxes. Governor Greg Gianforte sued the counties of Montana to raise your taxes. I'll stop there.
But you bet your bottom dollar he didn't put that in the letter he sent to your house.
That's right. That wasn't in that card.
Now, from what I remember, and I want to get one more call in if we can, the reason that he did that was to preserve the money for the Montana schools. That amount of mills was supposed to go to the schools. So
most of that money is going to the general fund, and we know that. That's why these county commissioners, like Josh Slotnick, like Mike McGinley, like all these other conservative Republican county commissioners that we meet with across this state, I don't know how else to say it, but they're hopping mad at the lies that Gianforte is telling about this.
Okay, let's try to get one more call in. We have just a couple of minutes left. Ed, quickly, what's your question?
Okay, back to the right of privacy. Montana Constitution does say the right of individual privacy is essential to the well-being of a free society and shall not be infringed without the showing of a compelling state interest. So does the state have a compelling interest in the protection of unborn babies?
All right. Gentlemen, real quick, I just want you to know that we have we try to reserve the last 2 minutes of our time with any politician for a stump speech. So if you want to address what Ed said, you can do that, or you can just jump right in. Go ahead.
So to your question, that's actually been answered directly by the courts, and this has been the law for almost 25, almost 30 years in Montana. And what the courts have said is the right to privacy that you described is a fundamental right to a woman's bodily autonomy to make decisions about her own body, and up until the point of fetal viability, that protects her right to make decisions. The government can try to make regulations, but if it wants to do that to show this compelling interest you mentioned, it has to show a medically acknowledged, bona fide health risk to the woman. So the laws you see the legislature passing are largely jumping around the edges, trying to stigmatize this right to make decisions, and those laws don't meet that standard. They are unconstitutional. They invade the right to privacy.
Okay, gentlemen, why should we vote for you? We got about a minute and a half.
Look, we're, you see our campaign signs around on every one that says, "Get your Montana back." And we believe in this deeply. You look around this place. We're in Missoula today. It's beautiful here. These mountains, these rivers, this state that we live in is a beautiful place. But the people here, the systems that we have established, this wonderful 1972 Constitution, this place where we help each other instead of hate each other, this place where we don't pull rank on each other, this place where we stand up for everybody, where we stand up for kids, where we fund our public schools. This is the kind of Montana we're talking about. This is a hopeful, fun, really enthusiastic campaign. We believe in this place. We believe it makes us better. We believe it makes the citizens better. We're in this to fight for our state, and we'd love to have you aboard.
Got a website?
BusseForMontana.com. Show up there, click on it, and hey, if you're feeling really supportive, you can donate to us. We'd love that too.
All right. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in. Safe travels to Bozeman, by the way.
Thank you very much.
For your Freedom Rally. Okay, Mr. Nick, what's coming up on tomorrow's fabulous program, sir?
We'll just be on from 9 to 10, and we'll have City Talk.
City Talk tomorrow. All right. So again, thanks to Ryan and Rafe, and thanks to all of our callers. We appreciate all of you. We would love to have you guys back again. So,
thanks everybody. Thanks, Pete. Really good to be here today.
Thank you. All right. And so, with that, we just want to say thank you. Get out and enjoy this absolutely beautiful day. All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Hey, safe travels. And we'll look forward to catching the big ones tomorrow at 8, and then at 9, as Nick mentioned, it's going to be City Talk. Not exactly sure who the guests are going to be, but it's always something very informational and very important to the folks who are in our listening audience. We hope you'll take advantage of that and join in the conversation. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning.